How do you mourn someone when you don't know if they are dead? I'm not asking in a poetic way, I mean it literally, because nobody teaches you that version of grief. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's story, I need you all to hit that like button and subscribe, because trust me, this one's different. This isn't some random creepypasta or urban legend I found on Reddit. This is about my dad and the war that swallowed him whole. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, this actually happened? This is real? Yeah, it is. And that's what makes it terrifying. Because when someone you love disappears into a conflict so brutal that millions of people, millions, just vanished, when there's no body, no closure, just an empty space where a person used to be, that's not just sad, that's horrifying. So buckle up, because we're diving into 1967, the Biafran War, and the ghost that still haunts my family to this day. My dad's name was, well, let's call him Chike. That's not his real name, but in my culture, you don't say the names of the dead too freely. They might hear you. Before the war, life in eastern Nigeria was normal. I mean, as normal as it could be for a newly independent country figuring itself out. My grandma used to tell me stories about him, how he'd steal mangoes from the neighbor's tree, how he wanted to be a pilot, how he'd practice English with this beat-up radio he saved up for. He was 23 when everything went to hell. See, Nigeria in the 60s was basically three major ethnic groups forced to share a house they never agreed to live in together. The British drew these borders with a ruler and a prayer, threw everyone inside and said, "Figure it out." Spoiler alert, they did not figure it out. In 1966, there were coups, then counter-coups, then pogroms. And if you don't know what that word means, good, keep that innocence. But basically, in the north, people from the east, Igbo people like my family, were being hunted down and killed in the streets. Thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands. My grandma said my dad came home one day and he wasn't the same. He'd seen something, a friend maybe, or a neighbor. She never got the full story because 3 days later, on May 30th, 1967, the Eastern region said, "We're out," and declared itself the Republic of Biafra. And my dad? Bro really said, "Say no more," and joined the army. Now here's where it gets weird. My grandma kept everything from that time. Every single thing. Photos, ration cards, old Biafran currency that's worthless now, and letters. My dad wrote her letters from the front. I found them when I was helping her move last year. They were in this old tin box that smelled like rust and time. And when I opened it, the last letter gave me chills. It's dated December 1969. By this point, Biafra was losing. The Nigerian government had blockaded them completely. No food, no medicine, nothing. People were starving to death. Kids looked like skeletons. You've probably seen those photos if you've ever Googled Biafran War. They are the ones that made the whole world pay attention. My dad's handwriting was shaky. The letter was short. But there was this one paragraph. "Mama, the hungry season has taken us all. We are not men anymore, just shadows walking. Last night I saw Obi. You remember Obi from the village? I saw him standing at the edge of camp. But Mama, Obi died 2 months ago in Owerri. I know he died because I was there. I helped bury him. But he was standing there, Mama, looking at me. And there were others behind him, so many others. They don't talk, they just wait. The sergeant says it's the hunger making us see things. But Mama, I know what I saw. And I think they've come to take us home. Biafra officially surrendered on January 15th, 1970. My dad never came home. Now, you have to understand something about this war. It wasn't like other wars where they kept records and dog tags and all that. This was chaos. The Nigerian government wanted to forget it ever happened. They literally called it a police action for years. There was no list of the dead, no graves registration, no nothing, just absence. My grandma spent years searching. She'd travel to different towns, asking everyone, "Have you seen my son? Tall, scar on his left hand, birthmark on his neck?" Nothing. Other families had the same story, men who did evaporated. And here's the truly messed up part. The government's official policy after the war was no victor, no vanquished. They wanted everyone to move on, reconciliation, reconstruction. But how do you reconcile with a ghost? When I was 16, my grandma took me to Owerri. That's a city in the east, one of the last places Biafra held before the end. We went to where the old army camp used to be. It's a market now. People selling yams and plantains and phone accessories. Life moved on. But my grandma just stood there in the middle of all these people and she whispered, "This is where he was. I can feel it." And bro, I'm not even playing. The air felt different there. Colder, heavy, like the atmosphere before a storm. And I swear I heard something like whispers, but not in any language I recognized. My grandma heard it too. I could tell because she grabbed my arm and said, "We need to leave now." We didn't talk about it on the bus ride home. After that trip, I started having these dreams. In them, I'm walking through this camp. Everything's in black and white, like old footage. There are soldiers everywhere, but they are moving weird, jerky, like a corrupted video file. And they are all staring at me. Then I see him. I don't know how I know it's him. I've only seen like 3 photos of my dad, but I know. He's standing at the edge of the camp, exactly like he described in that letter. Behind him, a crowd, hundreds of people, thousands maybe, all in tattered uniforms, all silent, all waiting. In the dream, I try to call out to him, but when I open my mouth, no sound comes out. And he just looks at me with these hollow eyes and mouths something I can't hear. Then they all start walking toward me, through me, and I wake up. This happened every night for 2 weeks. Same dream every time, until one night it changed. This time, when he mouthed the words, I understood them. He said, "Tell her I tried to come home." I woke up crying, called my grandma at 3 a.m, told her everything. You know what she said? "I know, he visits me too." Here's the thing about war, and maybe this is the real horror. It doesn't end when the fighting stops. The Biafran War officially killed somewhere between 500,000 to 3 million people, most of them from starvation. They don't even know the exact number. That's how many people died. Too many to count accurately. And my dad was just one of them. One body in an ocean of bodies. One ghost in an army of ghosts. My grandma is 82 now. She still sets a plate for him during holidays. Still talks to him like he's in the next room. And honestly, after everything I've experienced, I don't think she's crazy. I think the war never let him go. I think he's trapped there in 1970, in that camp with all the others who never got to leave. Waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know. Justice? Recognition? For someone to remember them? Last month, I went back to Owerri by myself, stood in that market again, and I spoke out loud, right there with everyone around. I remember you. We remember you. All of you. The whispers stopped. I haven't had the dream since. So yeah, that's my story. The man who went to Biafra and never came back. Not really. If you made it this far, drop a comment. Tell me if you believe in ghosts. Tell me if your family has stories like this. Tell me I'm not crazy. And if you're from Nigeria or if your family went through this war, I see you. I remember. We remember. Hit that subscribe button. More horror stories coming next week, but hopefully none as real as this one.